Cashflow Diary podcast, episode 495.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary podcast. I'm your host, Jay Massey, and I'm glad that you are here today because you are an entrepreneur. What does that mean? That means you are one of the first in. That's what we do. We go out there. We blaze new trails. We bang our heads. We break stuff, all in the hope of serving other people. Now, what does that mean? That means when you go and do all of those things, serving other people, breaking things, you're the first one in. Occasionally, you might run into, challenges. And one of the most important things that I have learned that you absolutely must protect during the challenging times is your confidence. You got to protect you in a very serious way because at the end of the day, the challenges are going to continue to come and there's nothing you could do about it. But more importantly, on the other side of the challenges, the success is the fun, is the trophy, and that's exactly why we are here. So wouldn't it be interesting if there was a person or technique or something that you could do to keep yourself motivated, going in the correct direction, making sure that if maybe you had a bad experience, but now it's time to go for that 7-figure or 8-figure, whatever it is that you're doing, wouldn't it be nice to have some help along the way? I think so. In fact, today's guest would be able to help you in so many ways. I am, of course, talking about Michele Molitor, and she is the founder of Nectar Consulting Incorporated and has a new book out, Breakthrough Healing, which you can find in Amazon. But what's really interesting is that when you see her name in print, she's got a lot of letters after it. I see something CPCC, PCC, and RTT. I have no idea what it means, but I'm going to make an assumption. It does mean that she's invested in herself to the point to where she is now able to help you and I. In fact, she has a technique called rapid rewiring that we're going to learn all about. So if you are ready to increase your emotional intelligence, your understanding of neuroscience, and most importantly, the ability to become a bigger, better, better version of yourself, I hope that you are ready to listen, to learn, and to love Michele Molitor. Michele, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm super excited to be here with you and your listeners.
I'm glad that you are here. And just so you know, we're going to have to talk about all those letters, but after your name. But that's not the first thing I want to start with today.
Sure.
Okay. Now, this being your first time here, I have to ask you the same question I tend to ask everybody else. You ready?
Uh-huh.
All right. I tend to look at today's entrepreneurs a lot like yesterday's superheroes. You know, Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, etc. Because I think superheroes and entrepreneurs have a ton of things in common. Chief among them, as an entrepreneur, occasionally I can imagine myself flying around town, using our products and services, and yes, saving our customers, and I am probably wearing a cape. Also, like a superhero though, an entrepreneur has a beginning. You know, if you think about Spider-Man, for example, there was a time where he was just a kid going to school, doing his thing, taking some photos, and then one day he gets bit by a spider, discovers he's got a special superhuman ability, and gets to choose whether to use it for good or evil. So my question to you is as follows. Before your book, Breakthrough Healing, before your company, before becoming a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, before change management and trainer, all the stuff that we know you for today, what we want to know is, who is Michele Molitor?
Well, that's a great question. At the heart of me, I am a creator. I am creative to my core. Learned that I could draw somewhere along the line. Like, hey, I should probably do something with that. And was a graphic designer and creative director for many, many years before I actually got into coaching and hypnotherapy. But I've come to learn about myself. My secret superpower is my intuition and my empathy. I have a massive capacity to listen and be compassionate and hear into people's stories and their pain and help them pull it apart and eliminate it. And so it's a joy for me to do that and be of service to people around the globe.
Got it. So I like this because I'm sure you've heard this before, but you do realize that graphic design and what you do today are not really related, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a story there that we have got to unpack. How do we go from, I'm assuming doodling in notebooks is where this started. You're like, hey, this is fun. This is, probably even therapeutic for you to some degree. How do we even get that far?
Gosh, actually, I've always been a late bloomer. I had graduated college from the University of Florida and had gone to France to work and thought, hey, it'd be cool to take a drawing class at Parsons School of Design. And was like, hey, check that out. I can draw. That's cool. Maybe I should do something with that. So when I moved back to the States, I ended up going to art school at the Art Institute and got a degree in graphic design and became a graphic designer and then an art director and then a creative director in web development for many years. And it's what that work moved me from Atlanta, where I lived for 10 years, out here to the San Francisco Bay Area. The height of the .com boom is very exciting. Come on, hurry up. We're gonna IPO. We need you on board. So the week I started, Jay, it was so exciting. I had my golden ticket. We were going to IPO. And that was the week the market crashed instead. I was like, oh, that's not good. And yet we kept all moving forward and like, hey, we're gonna go for another IPO in the fall. And then the market crashed again. And during that time, I had some very challenging personalities that I was working with. And ultimately, that's the nice way of putting it.
Yes, I was reading in between that line. I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
I got bullied out of my job. Two of the guys that I had hired to be on my team basically did everything they could to get me fired. And they succeeded. And it was devastating for me. It crushed my confidence. It shattered my self-esteem. And I was a shell. I was a deer in the headlights. Oh my gosh, what do I do now? And my uncle, God bless him, he's like, why don't you get a coach? I was like, a what? He's like, yeah, there's this thing called career coaches. I was like, okay, sure, sign me up. I need something. And it was such a lifesaver for me because I literally really had no idea what to do. The thought of, picking myself up and handing my resume to somebody was terrifying, like terrifying to my very core. And so I hired a coach, and in the process of being coached, all the cells in my body came into alignment. Have you ever had one of those moments where your whole body just goes, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing? And so I went on to be trained and certified, hence all the letters, several different ways, shapes, and forms. I got certified. And I've had my own coaching and consulting business now for 17 years. My anniversary is in 2 weeks, actually. Woo-hoo. So, yeah, very exciting. And so through my work as a coach, it really helped me give back to others who were going through similar situations, going through some kind of career transition, lost their job, didn't like what they were doing anymore. Their heart wasn't in it. Their spirit wasn't in it. What do I do now? What does that look like? So I've been an executive coach, a confidence coach, a business coach for many years in lots of different ways, shapes, and forms. And about 2 years ago, I discovered the work of Marissa Peer. Okay. And Marissa Peer is a world-renowned therapist and author and speaker. Mm-hmm. And, like most people, Jay, we all have junk in our trunk, right? There's those little niggly things that we can't quite seem to get out of our own way around, right? I know all the entrepreneurs who are listening are nodding their heads because...
No, they're perfect. They're fine.
Spot,
they
right?
No, they see everything. They see everything coming. They're good. They're the exception. It's just you and I. It's just you and me. You and me. We're the only messed up too. It's it. Just us.
Yeah, exactly. And so that, despite the coaches that I had and the trainings that I had and all the people that I'd had the joy of working with, there were still one or two things that were not quite resolved. And yet I knew the block was there, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't have anybody, even from the outside, articulate, look here, it's this thing right here, right? And so I discovered Marissa's work, which is called Rapid Transformational Therapy. And it's a really astounding and unique blend of cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnosis. And literally just 3 weeks of doing this work with her, the junk in my trunk was eliminated and things in my life started to shift dramatically. It blew my mind. Really, no kidding. And it was that second moment in my life where all the cells in my body came into alignment and went, yes. This is the next step of mastery.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about now. Because if I heard you correctly, you had already gone to college and then went back for something completely different. Did I hear that correct?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
I have a degree in advertising and psychology. Then I discovered I could draw, so then I went back to art school.
Okay, hold on. Let's stop that right there. How do you how do you go all the way to the point of graduating college and not know that you could draw ever? I don't understand.
It's like I had these inklings, these creative inklings. I come from a very creative, very entrepreneurial family too. My parents have been business partners my whole life. They're coming up on their 60th wedding anniversary, so all of this was kind of embedded in me, but I hadn't accessed it, right?
That's amazing. I mean, there's an entire talent just sitting there, and you're just like, oh, this is neat. I can do that. Okay, I'm gonna let that go for now because that's very, very unique in and of itself.
I like to learn too. That helps. So
right. There's something about the process that's exciting every time. I think that's part of why I keep doing this is because it's fun for me too to learn. Like, wait a minute, hold on. You said what? Now, what I like though is that I know for the would-be entrepreneurs out there or those who have some experience under their belt, they're facing in their mind one way or another. They're like there's a whole bunch of what ifs. Michele, there's a bunch of what ifs this happens and what if I can't. What for the new person? There's like, what if it doesn't work? And for the person who's got experience, it's like, oh my God, why should I try again? And it sounds like to me, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm new to the whole term rapid rewiring, all this other stuff, but it sounds like there's a method for helping entrepreneurs deal with that?
Yes, it is so exciting. I get so excited talking about it. So that's why I'm glad I'm here.
Let's do that then, because when you say, first of all, let's just say, let's be very clear. When you say the word rapid, the first thing that goes to my head is, okay, what is rapid? I mean, compared to eternity, 100 years is rapid. So what when you say rapid, what does that mean specifically?
Sure. Well, let me just kind of give you a compare and contrast.
Yes,
so
please.
Some people have therapists, regular talk therapists, and they might see their therapist once, twice, even 3 times a week for years on end. And they end up kind of going around in the same circles. And therapy has its place, not knocking it. And then there's coaching. Coaching is all about moving people forward, right? Setting goals. And typically those engagements are 6 to 12 months, right? With rapid transformational therapy and my unique rapid rewiring process that I've created, I've combined this rapid transformational therapy with coaching. And I can now help my clients get long-lasting results in 30 to 90 days. So that's rapid.
Yeah, that sounds faster for sure. Now, when you say long lasting, I mean, obviously we take a shower rather frequently. Those don't last very long. So
it would be different than that. Yes.
I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah, sure. So, with RTT and coaching, we call it RTT for short, right? Because rapid transformational therapy is a big old mouthful. So in combining RTT with coaching, the RTT essentially allows me to have a conversation with your subconscious mind where those limiting beliefs live. The beliefs we decided about ourselves excuse me, somewhere along our path. That might have been when you were a little kid, right? Somebody said something, did something to you, and you made a decision about yourself, good, bad, or indifferent. And that decision point goes into your subconscious programming and sits there and stays there until you consciously replace it with something else. So I'm able to get in at a subconscious level to identify the block, the bad habit, the physical pain, the mental, emotional pain, and help the client eliminate it from an adult perspective. Oh, I made this choice about myself. I'm not good enough when I was 3. And now I'm, 50 something. And I can understand as an adult, no, actually, I am enough. I'm really good, actually. But you see, one of the principles of the mind, Jay, is that your mind cannot hold 2 conflicting beliefs at the same time. So if your conscious mind says, yes, of course I'm enough, but your subconscious mind says, no, you're not, because remember, you decided when you were 3 that you weren't. It creates kind of a pinging effect, a vibration that creates that stuck feeling that doesn't allow you to move forward, right? So this work enables me to help clients eliminate the old belief and then literally instill new and empowering beliefs over time with this process that I'll tell you more about here in just a moment.
Okay.
That allows them to literally build new neural pathways in their brain.
Got it.
Because your mind likes repetition. So the more you tell yourself a thought, the more true it becomes for you. So if you're telling yourself over and over and over a lifetime, oh, I'm really not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not something enough, then your brain's like, oh, okay, that's what we believe. But you can literally change the channel. I am good enough. I'm smart enough. I'm capable enough. I'm lovable enough. All of those things, rinse, repeat. And one day you wake up and it's your new reality. And you're like, oh, yeah, I get that now.
Got it.
It's very, very transformative.
Got it. So for we'll call it the CEO, the entrepreneur who's out there right now who maybe had a bad experience, something that would be considered trauma. Maybe they've had to shut down a business or maybe they're in the process of dealing with things that they never imagined, HR nightmare. I don't know. You're saying somehow you can help. Explain.
Yes.
What is the process? How would it apply in such a specific situation? What does that look like?
Sure. Well,
do we got to get on a plane even to come see you? I don't know. There's so many thoughts going through my head at once. I'm sorry. They just keep coming.
No. Well, I do all my work virtually over Zoom, right? So I work with folks all over the world, and it works fantastic. And And so let me give you an example, right? I had a woman come to me who's an entrepreneur. She's like, Michele, I really want to grow my business. And every time I get to this 6-figure mark, I get stuck. And then something happens. And then my body has this horrible bout of inflammatory bowel syndrome. No fun, right? Yeah. So it was clear to me that it was a fear response for some reason. So I took her through my rapid rewiring process, which in a nutshell, we start with a 2-hour hypnotherapy session, which includes discover, rewire, transform. So we talk through some issues. I take them into a very relaxed state of hypnosis where they're fully conscious, but their critical thinking mind kind of takes a nap. Right? And have a conversation with their subconscious mind. And then the transformation is where I create, it's almost a monologue that I have with their subconscious mind. And I record that portion of the call. So they have a customized recording based on their exact situation that they then listen to every day for 21 days. And that in those 21 days, as they're listening, they're literally building those new neural pathways, right? And then we follow that up with 3 60-minute coaching sessions each week. So we meet once a week for 4 weeks. And inside of that, we unpack the other emotions and thoughts and challenges that might be coming up, but then also address new goals and new strategies and accountability for moving them forward, like taking quantum leaps. That's what makes it so much more rapid, because we're supercharging the RTT with the coaching, right? So back to this client that I was telling you about. So we go through the process and we're 22 days in. And she emails me and she's like, okay, yesterday was day 21. I've listened to my recording every single day religiously. I've listened to it twice on some days. And today I had my biggest client meeting ever. My body is completely on board and the IBS is gone. And I was like, that's cool, right? Mm-hmm. And so I reach out to her like, I don't know, about a month later. How are you doing? How are things going? And, can you give me a testimony about your experience? And she literally said, what did we work on? Can you remind me? It had completely disappeared because her body was so on board and she hadn't had issues with it. And this had been going on for 15 years, Jay. So that's what's so amazing about this work and why I love it so much, because beyond coaching, beyond therapy, I'm able to help people not only be more effective as an entrepreneur, to regain their confidence, to boost their self-esteem, but even help folks with physical ailments that have been slowing them down because they were actually fear responses to what they were doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think all of us at some level can relate to feeling these things, or they manifest themselves in various different ways. What I guess comes up for me when you're talking is, it just seems, again, it seems interesting that to be able to rectify something that has been hampering someone for so long in such a short period of time is a challenge to accept. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
again, not saying I want people to suffer longer, or I want to suffer longer. We'd love to. Give me 3 magic pills for $19.95. I'm in. But I think you understand what I'm saying, though. Hello there, entrepreneur. This is Jay Massey. I know that if you've ever gone over to the site, cashflowdiary.com, you may have asked yourself, where on earth do you get a domain name from? Especially as you are beginning to build your bigger, better, badder business. You need a web presence. You need the email address. You need a way for people to contact you electronically so that you can stop doing the @gmail.com game. Well, the good folks over at GoDaddy have definitely supplied us with every domain that we have ever used. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to trygodaddy.com/Cashflow Diary. Again, that's trygodaddy.com/Cashflow Diary, because it's a quick way for you to get set up to capture your domain name the exact way that you want it. They got easy search functions, and most importantly for you is that you'll be up and running today. As I said, once you get started, stay started. Don't let small little obstacles of how to get your own domain name going stop you. So again, go to trygodaddy.com/cashflow diary, and let's get back to the rest of the story.
Yeah, and that's why I love having these conversations, because it is almost like, are you sure? Really? Are you kidding me? Are you pulling my chain? No, I'm not. I've worked with, tons of people literally all around the world, and helped them. Some people have had severe PTSD. I've worked with folks who were addicted to alcohol, addicted to meth, addicted to porn, addicted to food, right? And help them eliminate those addictions. I've worked with folks who've had chronic migraines their whole life. This is a fascinating story, right? This particular client, she was 49 at the time, depression, anxiety, and migraines that were debilitating, in bed for days kind of migraines. And through the process, what came up was a memory of her when she was 3, and her alcoholic mother had a newborn baby, and basically put her as a 3-year-old in charge of the newborn child, which
wow,
A, you don't do. B, imagine how stressful that would be for a little tiny child who's trying to take care of their little sister, but can't even, get into the crib to pick her up. Right. And so her mind created the migraines as a way to check out, to take a break from the hypervigilance of caring for her sister. And once she was able to understand that, like, oh, this was just a protective mechanism that I created for myself, which became the well-worn groove for her mind. So at any point in stress, her mind would go, oh, I know that channel. Let's have a migraine, right? And so we were able to literally turn the volume down on the migraines. So they became not migraines, but headaches from time to time, right? Which is tremendous and a huge relief for her, because she was no longer debilitated by it. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala. Mm-hmm. And your amygdala is your ancient limbic brain. I like to call her Amy. Amy's the little lizard lady in your head. And Amy's job is just to keep you safe, literally, to keep you safe and alive and on the planet, right? Because as cavemen and women, we'd come out of the cave and like, is it safe? Are there lions? Are there tigers? Right. What's going to eat me today, right? And now Amy doesn't really realize that your manager, your colleague, your client is not a saber-toothed tiger. But she still has that reaction like, oh, we have to run, we have to hide, that fight or flight or freeze mechanism. And so we can't get rid of Amy, right? But this process allows us to manage her and your emotions more effectively, so it doesn't send you into fear mode that has you go, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Or let me just stick my head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. Right. Right. Entrepreneurs are never known for doing that.
Never. Nope. I have never done that. Not even once. Today. Anyway, moving on. So let me ask you this. You've worked with a number of different individuals. For those that are listening, what are some of the most, like, what typically drives someone to seek you out? Or what's the most common issue or challenge that you find that entrepreneurs face that have them go, Michele, help?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of entrepreneurs come to me from a perspective of, how do I enhance my confidence, my self-esteem? I used to be on top of my game, and some things happened, and now I'm not. And I want to get back to that place. but I can't seem to get there. I can't seem to get motivated. I can't seem to do the things that I know that I need to do, that I used to do, that used to work. But for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get back on that train and that place of success that I once had. And so, through the discussions that we have, we get at what are the incidents, the experiences, the trials and tribulations that created a belief, a fear about themselves. Like, oh, maybe I don't have my mojo anymore. Maybe I lost it. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm different and I don't fit in anymore. Or, there's a lot of different subtext that shows up, but typically the surface level ask is, gosh, I'd really like to grow my sales, or I'd really like to increase my confidence because my business is wobbly, right? And then when I get in there, I find, oh, okay, then there's these other fragments or pieces and parts to the equation that look very different, but they're all kind of woven together.
Yeah, totally understood. And your job is to take it apart and rebuild it. I like it. No, I like it. It's just, it seems like a lot of work.
It's such a joy. Oh my gosh. It's like each person's a unique puzzle, right?
Got it.
And they can't see themselves in the mirror because they've put so many walls up to protect them. But one of my superpowers, Jay, is I really see the heart of people. I see your natural talents. I see your genius. I see your ability. It's so plain as day to me. And my job is to be a mirror for you, to help you see that part of you again, to help you understand the blinders that you have on and help you take them off because you don't really need them anymore. And sometimes we have to negotiate a little bit with Amy. Like, no, really, Amy, it's okay. You can let go of this. We have a new job for you.
Right.
Right.
Look, squirrel. Yes. No, totally understood. Absolutely. I get it. So what would you say then prevents people from even reaching out? I mean, because it would seem, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it would seem to me that we don't typically seek to solve a problem until we know there is one. And we may not even know that there is a problem and that you could help. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say. It's like, I think there's an entrepreneur listening who could probably benefit, but doesn't even know that you're the answer. Does that make sense? Yeah,
absolutely. So typically folks come to me when something's not working. They're not happy. They're not satisfied. They used to like their job. Now they don't really like it. They're frustrated. And they feel like they're spinning around in circles in some way, shape, or form, right? And they've tried perhaps other things. Perhaps they've tried therapy. Perhaps they've worked with a coach. Perhaps they've done, other ways, shapes, and forms to find more happiness, more contentment in their life, and they just haven't been able to tap into it. And there's a habit of dissatisfaction going on. And so when that understanding happens in someone, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to do something different because, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results, right?
Yeah.
So that's when folks will reach out to me like, I've tried this, and this, please help.
Got it. Now, for those that have listened this far and probably have identified themselves either in your story or in something that you've said, and want to find out more about what you've got going on, what's going to be some of the best ways for them to catch up with you?
Sure, sure. I invite everybody to visit my website, Nectar Consulting, Nectar consulting.com. And I'm happy to have a complimentary discovery session with folks. We can have a 30-minute chat and find out what's going on and see if I can be of assistance. I'm not the right, coach therapist for everybody. So it's always good to find that out up front. But I also have a lot of free resources on my website, too. You can go to the brain candy section, which is my
Yes,
favorite part.
I like the name, by the way, when I said I was like
Yeah.
brain candy. Yeah, this is good.
And yeah, I have, articles, interviews. I have some guided meditations. I have a couple of ebooks that I've written with some guided hypnosis recordings that go with them, so you can even just try it on and see what this thing is all about a little bit. And yeah, check it all out. And I'd be delighted to talk with you if there's something that's really hampering your style, really keeping you from moving forward powerfully, and see how I can be of assistance. Because, Jay, life is short, right?
Yeah.
And I think I know we all have the ability to have happy, thriving lives. And oftentimes, because of our experiences or our upbringing or the story we've learned from other people, we don't think that's possible. We think, oh, I have to keep a lid on it in some way, shape, or form. I can't be too happy, right? Which sounds crazy, but I have clients that's the case. Oh, I had a belief that I couldn't be too happy because if I was that happy, something bad would happen, right?
Right.
So it's crazy, but it's super exciting work, interesting work, and it's for those who are ready to really create powerful, positive change in their life.
Love it. Now,
Yeah.
as we wind down, I've got a question for you that I've got to ask because I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Because I know, listening, there's a person or persons who they may have come to what I like to call the precipice of decision. They could be, if you will, Michele, standing in front of the superhero outfit store. They're ready to put this thing on. They're like, you know what? Michele's right. I'm going to do this thing. My business is going to be better. I'm going to be better. We're going to be bigger. But like I know, Michele, that during those moments of decision, we also have a companion. And that companion often comes in the form of a voice that often reminds us of what we can't do, how it didn't work last time, and oh my God, you're going to do what? You know better than that, than to try. And for some people, they're actually related to that voice. So my question to you is as follows. Let's pretend that this time it's going to be different. This time they're going to follow through and they're going to do exactly what you say in the next 24 to 48 hours. What would you suggest that they do?
I would say tell yourself that you absolutely can. Write down your goals and get really, really clear on the outcomes that you want to achieve. And tell yourself that you absolutely are enough. You always have been enough. You always will be enough. And from this place of enoughness, you can achieve anything you put your mind to.
I love it. I like it. Absolutely. So I definitely appreciate the work that you've been doing. I'm glad that you eventually discovered that you could draw, so this is good. But most importantly, I'm glad that you've decided to help entrepreneurs and have the impact that you have, because I know they're grateful. We're all grateful because it takes so much to let your genius shine out there in the world. And I think that's what you enable us to do, is to go out there and be bigger, better, badder versions of ourselves. So thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge, your wisdom, and your insight here with us today at the Cashflow Diary.
Thank you so much, Jay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for you to move at the speed of instruction. What does that mean? Well, that means for some of you, you need to go pick up a book, Breakthrough Healing. For others of you, that means you need to get over to her website, Nectar Consulting. And for many of you, it probably means you need to just go and contact her directly and take her up on that free consultation. Because at the end of the day, what does it hurt to find out? Absolutely nothing. But more importantly, who could you affect if you do find out and she's able to help? Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.